You were saying?
Greg, how you doing? Nice of you to just walk into the room when I'm saying something very private, jerk.
Yeah, he likes to do that.
There you go. Hi, I'm Grumpy Dungeon Master Christopher. This is Grumpy Dungeon Master Jay, and we're about to kill you with Tiamat.
I saw your Tiamat. Is
Yeah,
nice.
it's so big. It's as big as a cat.
Yeah, the photo I'm sure didn't do it justice.
The photo does not do it justice. Hi, Bruce.
I summoned him.
Okay.
I need some backup to bitch about Dragonlance.
Oh, okay. All right. So, hi, special guest Bruce. How you doing?
This is not a special guest episode. He's just part of the family now.
I'm a grumpy dungeon master, honorary.
Yep.
So yeah. So I bought Tiamat, and our Adventure League group was pretty small this week. So I had them make level 20 characters, and we fought it, and Tiamat won pretty handily. Even her stats are just dumb. Like, she's very simple to run. She's got one thing she can do: multi-attack. That's it. That's all she can do. And then as legendary actions, her heads breathe. Okay.
How many of them breathe at once?
Once per legendary action. And she has 5 legendary actions. It costs 2 to do it.
Okay, so every head breathes every turn. Okay, no.
No.
Looks like it costs 2 actions. So 2 heads breathe per turn.
No, 1 head breathes. It costs 2. And it really doesn't matter because they're all like 100-foot cones of something, or 100-foot lines of something. And the DC is like 27, I think. So even at level 20, you're not making it all the time. And if you do make it, you just still take half damage.
Yeah.
And she flies 120 feet in the air. So, yeah, it pretty much just breathe on people until they die. It was very kind of almost anticlimactic in a way. No weird special attacks, no hard mechanics, no hard things that make her run. Just do breath attacks until somebody dies. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to find her exact stats for 5e.
Is she a god?
Yes.
Yeah.
So she can't do other things other than just attack and breathe fire?
Well,
she has one spell called Divine Word. And all of her attacks are just bite and claw attacks. And she doesn't even get 5 bite attacks a turn. She only gets 2 claws and a bite.
It's 5th edition. That's to be expected. Let's see. Yeah, Divine Word spell save DC is 25. Multi attack 4d6 plus 10 slashing. Tail attack. There's a tail attack.
Yeah.
I want to make sure these are the right stats I'm looking at. So
because she's part Manticore too, or some shit.
Yeah, 48 plus 10.
I mean, she can whip you with a tail.
Yeah. Acid Breath, the DC is 18. That's not even that high. I mean, that is high, but it's not, not god level high.
You may be looking at the avatar, not the actual Tiamat, because there's 2 Tiamats.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at says Tiamat. It does not say avatar, but I don't know for sure.
I can pull them up here real quick.
Okay, well, no, okay, that was the Acid Breath. The other ones, the legendary action ones, yeah, the DC is 27 for those deck saves, which is pretty damn high.
Yeah, all her breath saves are 27, but all she does is her 2 claws and her tail attack. She regenerates hit points each turn. She can take multiple reactions in a turn, which is cool. But
that's not. Yeah, most things can't do that, so that's something different.
Yeah, she has limited magic immunity. Anything that's 6th level or lower can't work on her. And then she has advantage on everything else.
Okay, hold on. That last part you just said, that's actually really rude in 5e. because wizards don't hardly get anything above 6th level. You know, what do you get? You
Right.
get 2 7th level spells, 1 8th, and 1 9th, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just immune to all spells 6th level or lower, and she has advantage on saving throws against all other spells and magical effects.
That means like every spellcaster has like 4 spells they can use against her.
Well, you gotta buff your party.
Yeah, that's all you can do there. Buff
And
everybody else.
even if she dies, she just basically gets reborn in hell.
Well, yeah, that should be the case with most deities.
Yeah. But it was just weird. Like playing her was, I mean, if you didn't have the model, it would have been very unfun. The model just sells it because like you have this giant thing on the table the size of a house cat that you turn around and it claws people to death.
Like a house cat.
Yeah, just like a house cat.
You should have actually just used your house cat instead of the mini.
Mm.
Blaze,
That's for the
sit still. Sit still, Blaze. Don't move.
that's for the Terrask, so it just stomps around and knocks everything over. But yeah. So I bought it. I bought it at Zenergy, my local game store. It was great. I also bought the collector's edition beholder set, which came with 3 hand painted beholders. Okay,
All right.
and this was not the store's fault, but the box was damaged by the time they got it.
Was it the
All
ones
right.
that we talked about on here
Yes,
previously? Okay.
they look really, really, really cool in person. However, since the box was damaged, okay, the box is just like the collector box is just gone. Like, it's not worth keeping.
Yeah.
And the minis inside bounced around so much that most of the paint in certain spots rubbed off onto the plastic.
That sucks.
Yeah. So
Did you get them cheap?
yeah, like I said, it wasn't the store's fault. It wasn't
Yeah.
a store issue at all. It was just this is how they got shipped. Even if the box was perfectly in perfect condition, they still would have rubbed a lot on the inside.
Yeah.
So I doubt any figure got delivered anywhere without some damage in some way. Because they're all hand painted, but they're not shipped like hand painted miniatures should be shipped. They're shipped like all the other miniatures that they have that are like that plastic paint stuff that doesn't come off.
Right.
So it's bad
Well,
on WotC, I guess.
I guess it's time for you just to own up to your statement from last episode and go to Pathfinder.
What? No, what was my statement from last time about going to Pathfinder?
You did say that last podcast.
About what? Yeah, if something happened, I don't remember what.
I don't
Yeah.
either.
If they produce another book that has no lore,
Yeah. So
Oh, that's coming.
there's that. So let's talk about Dragonlance. Dragonlance is the new book that came out. I bought the collector's edition or the deluxe edition. Sorry, it's sitting here on the floor.
Yep.
I haven't opened it. Probably will never open it. It comes with a special cover for the deluxe edition only. It comes with the board game, and the special cover is the actual adventure book. And in the adventure book, and I'm calling it the adventure book for a reason, there is one chapter that provides all the lore for Dragonlance.
One whole chapter, huh?
One whole chapter. And the rest
man.
is the adventure to run a story in Dragonlance and all the new monsters and stuff that came with it. So I don't have to eat my words yet.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I guess technically it has lore.
yeah, but not what you count as lore.
Like, there are I don't know how much lore's in the book. I'm looking at the Kender, and there's a very, very brief synopsis of how Kender were created right before before all the Kender stats. And there's literally nothing in this telling you how to roleplay Kender. So
that was
I don't know.
intentional. It was all removed per tweet from one of the developers because they didn't want the Kender to get the same kind of hatred that they got from previous editions. So they kind of cut out all like what the Kender does and what a Kender is.
yeah, So they neutered the Kender. Now they
Uh,
mind you, let me be fair. From what I've got here in front of me, maybe send the link to Bruce as well so he can see it because Bruce knows he knows what Kender are. Um,
Yep.
the stats that they've actually got for the Kender aren't that bad. Stat wise, it's actually okay. It's just lore wise, there's nothing. It's not a Kender. Um, it, let me read over the stats that they've got for this thing. You are humanoid. You are small size. Your walking speed is 30 feet, 25. Um, you have fearless. You have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the frightened condition on yourself. When you fail a save to avoid or end the frightened condition on yourself, you can choose to succeed instead. Once you do on a saving throw this way, you can't do so until you finish a long rest. That's good. That is a Kender trait. They are fearless. Let's see. There's Kender aptitude, and I don't know where this is being pulled from on the lore part of it. Thanks to the mystical origin of your people, you gain proficiency with one of the following skills of your choice: insight, investigation, sleight of hand, stealth, or survival. Um, Kender are good at all of those things generally. So I guess that's just why they're giving you proficiency in one of them automatically. And then they get the taunt ability. You have an extraordinary ability to fluster creatures. As a bonus action, you can unleash a string of provoking words at a creature within 60 feet of yourself that can hear and understand you. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, or it has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you until the start of your next turn. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, blah, blah, blah. And that is also a Kender thing. They are very much like Spider-Man. They're just talking the whole fucking time. They never shut up.
but why isn't that just taunt just a basic ability in the DM's book? You know, just DC 8 plus your proficiency as a
Yeah,
bonus action.
They can't even get a full page.
no, they didn't even get half a page, honestly. Um, yeah, it should be a feat also. Just basically give the Kender that feat to start with. That's what it should have been.
Mm.
I noticed they got rid of the magic bag.
Yes,
Remember
they did.
from the
Yeah.
UA, and honestly, it's probably for the best. But they don't actually really mention it in the little tiny blurb of lore. They,
A paragraph and a half.
yeah,
Come
Re-
on, there's 2.5 paragraphs.
there are 2.5 paragraphs. Yeah, and
But
the
one
word,
one just summarizes the name.
yep. The worst part is it says Kinders sometimes amass impressive collections of curiosities. Some might collect mundane knickknacks or relics for magical sites, while others might become professional thieves. They all do that. That's part of what a Kinder is. Uh, I know this means nothing to you, Waples, as you don't know much about Dragonlance. It's not your forte, but anybody who, like me, is familiar with it will kind of hate this. They'll hate all of that.
Well, I don't like changing, but it happens. But what I don't like is Waples doesn't know, and now he will never know.
Yes, that's the complaint.
I mean, I know enough. I know that they basically neutered the Kender because they didn't want to create hostilities at the table anymore. Because everyone was just like, "Oh, I'm going to play Kender and just steal from the party."
That's what Kinder
And
do.
right, so they don't want D&D doesn't want to create hostility at the table anymore. So from a design standpoint, that makes sense that they'll take that away from a race that's causing hostile
What's gonna
things to
happen?
happen.
What's gonna happen, and it's probably gonna be worse, is you're gonna end up with mixed groups of players. You're gonna have people who are familiar with Dragonlance and people who are not familiar with Dragonlance. And the people who are familiar with Dragonlance playing Kinders will be a problem. And nobody will be ready for it because there's nothing telling them to be ready for it.
Yeah,
Now,
I don't think
strike
anyone's going to be playing Dragonlance in 5e. Let's be fair.
Strife at a table does not necessarily mean bad things. I just had a friend the other day tell me that his group he plays a paladin, and his group was in a graveyard at night, and they heard some rustling and stuff, and the wizard cast fireball on what he thought was undead, ended up being town children.
Oh no.
Killing them. And so the paladin, my friend, he turned in his group to the authorities, and they had to break rocks and then go on a quest to work off the death of children. Strife at the table, but still worked. Their own friend turned them in because he was a paladin.
But that's a friend who I'm assuming knows everybody else at the table, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
It wasn't just some random group that they found on Reddit that they play over Discord, and they've never met each other in real life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm old school like Jay. I play with the people I know.
So most, and I hate to say this, most D&D games are probably played with random people that they meet through Roll20, through any of the numerous different, party finding websites, and aren't groups of close friends playing the same game over and over again. Even the games that I've played out here, I've had to basically make games with strangers or make friends with strangers and get them to play at my table. Run Adventures League every week. A bunch of random people who show up every single week. So if some jackass showed up and started playing a Kender the old way, well, it's just going to piss a bunch of people off, make a bunch of people upset, and make everybody angry, and no one's going to have a good time. That's not strife at the table. That's a guy being a dick.
Here's the thing. There's literally nothing prevents that right now.
No, it prevents it right now because I know to look out for things like that, and I can handle the situation. How many Crit Crabs have we watched or listened to
I know.
or shared with each other about just assholes just being assholes for no reason? That's the majority of the games nowadays is random people who don't have to face any consequences, so they're going to be dicks. I'm glad Kender got neutered away from this because I don't want to have to deal with it.
There's nothing that would, whether they wrote it in here or not, somebody who wants to play a character that's going to steal stuff will just do that.
Right, that's true. That's not wrong. But now they have, well, that's what my character would do excuse to throw in there. And now it's what my race would have me do excuse. And it just stacks up on it. It's just giving people more ammo to be dicks. And then
I don't know, it sounds like a session 0 thing, saying like, you want to play Kender, you want to play it the old way, that's fine, but you what you like to steal or collect, air quotes, is not party materials.
And in general, that was always the case. Kender weren't necessarily stealing anything important. They might steal a piece of lint and give you 5 gold pieces because the lint was more interesting to them than the gold.
Right, but that probably would never happen. Not nowadays.
Well, if it's written in there, then people might actually understand that. But
no, unless there was a mechanic in there saying, "Hey, when you steal something from somebody, do something that's roll on a table, whether you're going to give them something of more or less value, and what it would be."
Yeah, yeah. Either way, I wish they hadn't nerfed the Kender, but I don't really care too much because I'm never going to play this garbage. So I wish that other people could experience the actual lore as opposed to what they're getting.
No, there's enough pain in the ass at the table now. We don't need Kender to add to it.
Yeah, that may be true. I wanted to talk about the one you had linked me as well, and this one really kind of irks me more than the Kender thing, is the Lunar Sorcery.
Oh, the one that's already been nerfed and retconned and rebuilt 4 times?
I actually haven't looked over the stats. I don't really care what they do.
Uh-huh.
It's my biggest beef is it's a sorcerer subclass. So Bruce, as you're familiar with Dragonlance, you know the Towers of Sorcery?
Yeah.
Yeah, where all the wizards train. It's now a sorcerer thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so in Dragonlance, to become a wizard, you had to go train at the Tower of Sorcery. It Yeah, the word sorcery doesn't necessarily mean sorcerer. Um,
Correct.
so you would go train there. Once you completed your training, you would pick one of the three moons effectively. You get one of three different robe colors, and that would be the alignment that you're based upon. Evil got black robes, neutral got red robes, and good got white robes. You had access to certain spells like necromancy if you're, black robes, whereas white robes would not have access to that. But now it's just a sorcerer thing for whatever reason, thus
Which is
killing more of the lore of Dragonlance. They did, however, turn those into feats.
okay.
So it's not 100% dead. It's just done very incorrectly. Now you have to. They have mages of high sorcery, which is a feat that you can take. I'm guessing at first level, and yeah, initiate of high sorcery. Then at fourth level, you can actually take the adept of the black robes, red robes, and so forth.
So it sounds like there's a built-in mechanic for all the wizard stuff that they just didn't want to rewrite wizards as a class, and which is honestly what they should have probably done,
Yeah, they
and
should
instead
have.
just made it feats.
Yeah, they shouldn't have been feats. They absolutely should have made them into classes or subclasses. It's Yeah, it's them being a little lazy, in my opinion. And I know we had talked about this previously when we were looking over the UA for this 6 months ago or whenever the hell it was. But I was hoping they would actually fix it. Naturally, they didn't.
Yeah, I mean it's disappointing because like I said, I think I mentioned this last time. It's like I don't think I could run a Dragonlance game without a feeling I'm just running something on the Sword Coast because nothing about this is mechanically different at all. There's a
Yeah,
new subclass, there's a new race, but nothing has changed mechanically with the game to make me feel like I'm in a different world with a different magic system based on the moons. You know, how are wizards pulling their power then if they're an evocation wizard? Do I
yeah,
force them to take one of these feats? And do they draw the power from the moon now? Is that just instead of the weave? Is that just what I'm supposed to say?
yeah. So, like, they actually they don't even get it from the weave. They actually get their magical powers from the deities. There's Lunatari, Solari, and Nuatari, which are the three moons, which are the three gods of magic, and they grant wizards their spells effectively.
Yeah.
They don't memorize them like a cleric does, but they get their power through those gods. Which is very very different from how Forgotten Realms does it.
Right. So instead of actually like developing that, they've just made them feats.
Yep.
Then that's really kind of disappointing because they really should have rechanged that. Because like even Ouroboros has its own like unique magic system that you can use. Like if you want to delve into the Ouroboros magic system and play with that magic system, you absolutely can. It's different. It changes how all spellcasters work in the game, but it's there. The rule set is there for you to play with.
Yeah.
Or you can just play how 5e is currently written. That way, people are more familiar with everything. They don't have to relearn a system. I think it's with this they just were lazy, or they probably made an executive decision to basically say, "Hey, we're not going to change these things around, even though they should,
Well,
and we're going to."
here's how little they give a fuck about the actual lore of Dragonlance. So when I'm reading through this, building a mage of high sorcery character. Now, I just explained it's wizards who are mages of high sorcery. Mages of high sorcery are typically sorcerers, warlocks, or wizards. Like that's the first fucking sentence.
Yeah. So they really should have basically said, "It's like, hey, you can't play sorcerer, you can't play warlock in this setting. You should only play wizard."
I mean, there are sorcerers. Warlocks were not a thing, but warlocks weren't really a thing when the novels were being written much. But sorcerers did exist, and they were real. They were actually hunted down by wizards. It was not a good thing to be a sorcerer.
Because I think like a draconic sorcerer would make sense thematically in Dragonlance.
Yeah, absolutely it would.
Agreed.
I'm glad you agree.
So Bruce sent me Pathfinder 2.0.
Yep.
Okay, I'm still waiting for it. It hasn't arrived yet, obviously, since you just shipped it. But
I think it's due tomorrow.
awesome. I'll be looking forward to it. Give me lots of good reading material for this week.
And 1.0 should come, I don't know, a couple weeks.
So I just sent you guys 2 NPCs. I don't know who
Okay.
they are or what they are, but are they important? Did anything change with them?
Oh, okay. Lord Soth is very, very important to the lore.
Okay.
The other one, I'm pretty sure they just made up.
Okay.
Yeah, I have never heard. Now, I don't know 100% on that. I've never heard of Consaldi Fire Eyes.
Well, from this, it's supposed to be called. He's supposed to be called the Consaldi, the Red Eye.
Yeah, I've never heard of him. Now, there's a lot of novels. I have not read all of them. Lord Soth, however, is very important to the lore of Dragonlance. He was a knight pre-cataclysm, and oh yeah, okay, they actually do explain that in this little blurb that they've got. So he was responsible. He was one of the people responsible for the cataclysm of Dragonlance. He also ended up in Ravenloft, oddly enough.
That's one of the comments on the Reddit post. Is like, did they mention his foray into Ravenloft? I'm like, no, they don't.
No, of course they didn't. I mean, this is his Dragonlance, version. So, Master Consaldi Fire Eyes leads the Red Dragon Army's offensive in Solamnia. Now, from my understanding, this takes place during the War of the Lance, correct?
Something like that. Yeah.
Let's see. Consaldi was indoctrinated into the god's worship by Dragon High Lord Verminard. I hope they have Verminard's stats because he's actually important.
Hmm.
Probably not, though. I really shouldn't even be looking at this Dragonlance stuff because I'm just gonna keep ripping it apart. It's not good.
It's just making you upset.
It is. It is. It doesn't even make for a good podcast. This is just me bitching for 2 hours.
I mean, yeah.
Oh wait, that's every podcast. Usually it's you complaining. Me less so.
Isn't what's the witch who didn't she start here and then they moved her over to Forgotten
No,
Realm?
you're talking about Tasha? No, she was
Yeah.
great. She was Greyhawk originally.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she was part of Dave Arneson's stuff, I think, originally.
But Fizzban was Greyhawk as well.
No, Fizzban. Uh, Fizzban, I honestly I don't know. I think he was Greyhawk. Yeah. Fizzban was Greyhawk. All of the characters that had spells named after them in the player's handbook are pretty much Greyhawk.
Mordecai.
Yeah, those were all Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson's NPCs.
Venser. I think Venser.
Sorry, PCs. Yeah, Venser, Mordenkainen, not Fistodontalus. That's Dragonlance, but Agnazar. Like these are all early D&D.
So is Lord Sloth a good fight? He's probably the end boss.
He's like a challenge rating 18.
19.
He's tough, but he's like the guy before the last guy.
And the last guy is Tiamat, right?
Yeah. The last guy would be Takesis, obviously.
Tiamat, yeah.
Yeah, Takesis.
Yeah, Tiamat.
Well, let's not go down this road again.
I just bought her too. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's Takesis. It's 2-1.
You're outnumbered.
Well, I have the model, and she's saying her name was Tiamat, so it's 2
But
to
yeah,
2.
you bought a Tiamat model. You didn't buy a Takesis model. I'm pretty sure there
You know,
aren't
I'm
any.
looking at this Takhismat picture, and it looks just like Tiamat. So
Oh, you're looking at a 5e one? It probably does.
did I not share that with you, or did you not see that?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, hold on a second. Here, I will give it to you again. Yeah, they did nothing to change or differentiate Takhisis from Tiamat at all
Well, no,
in any
in
way.
5e they didn't because they're claiming they're the same NPC.
They're not claiming. They're just
Yeah,
straight up making it.
yeah,
happen.
because they have that power, you know. Never mind that the creators of Takesis have said otherwise, but whatever.
Uh,
I
so
was waiting
Bruce,
for you.
what do you think about the 5e Dragonlance? Are you gonna play it?
No.
Have you played any role playing games at all recently?
Yes.
Oh wow, really? Tell me about it.
You're actually back to getting a chance to roleplay?
Yeah, I've been dabbling back in Pathfinder again.
1.0 or 2.0?
1.0. Well, 1.0 with 2.0's character creation.
Okay. So they're actually compatible?
Yeah, the you use the skills and everything and the rules for 1.0, but you use the character ancestry background how you make your character from 2.0.
All right. Having not actually ever played any Pathfinder, I
Yes.
I I,
Yes, you have
I know I have.
3.5.
I know I have.
3.5. It's just a fixed 3.5.
Yeah, okay, I say I've never played it, but that's actually not true because I played the video game, which is literally just the same damn thing.
Yeah, well, there's some differences, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned this before, but in November they released the Kingmaker from Paizo for the 2.0 rules, but if you pay an extra like $20, you get the 5e rules. You play the whole campaign. And by the way, it comes with like 40 some pages of lore of the area and the maps and everything you need to run your kingdom. If you played that game, which you said you've played, you know you're going to need it.
Well, I played the video game, yeah.
Yeah, that's that whole campaign is now released for 5e.
So so they released a physical copy of it
Yeah.
for 5. That's pretty sweet, actually. I might have to pick that up.
So yeah, you have to get the 2.0 version of it, and then there's an addendum book you can get that gives you the rules of what you do, with the source material.
Yeah.
To play.
And for anyone who isn't familiar with what the hell we're talking about, first off, Pathfinder Kingmaker was a pretty awesome video game where you actually got to build your own kingdom, and it like as far as the video game went, it was pretty sweet because you would constantly have to be kind of paying attention to what's going on in different parts of your little country while trying to figure out how to not let this place collapse. You're still running around doing D&D adventures while still trying to navigate the politics of it with a whole I mean, you're completely surrounded by countries that just want to take you over too.
Yeah, and it was an adventure path in 1.0 Pathfinder first, before the video game.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Then I actually did run my own version of that where I gave my players, their own little barony to run and see if they could run it into the ground. They actually did really well with it because most of them ended up leaving it in the end. They left the one guy who liked to do math and control of everything.
That's funny.
Yeah, he was real good at doing taxes. Yeah, everything else. Waiting on Waples to chime in here or see if
I have
he's
nothing
falling
to chime
asleep.
in about. You guys are playing Pathfinder, and I'm taking a nap.
You know it's just D&D, right? It's the
Sorry,
same
what?
thing. It's the same thing.
No, it's not. It's completely different. It's an entirely new system you have to learn.
Okay, first off, this is a podcast about being a game master.
I
So
know.
that
But
includes all systems.
yeah, but I'm for as much as I rag on 5th edition, it's easy enough to pick up. I don't have to spend 1,000 hours making new characters and stuff like that. And while there are a couple systems I want to try, they're very different systems. They're not just another D20 system with different rule sets. Like there's that the Monster of the Week
Oh
role
yeah.
playing game that I want to try. Like
Yep.
that would be great. I'd love to try that out, but I just don't own it. Nor do I know where to get it. I haven't seen it anywhere.
I own it.
Is it any fun?
It is very fun.
Yeah.
But
what's it like?
Waples, Pathfinder is Dungeons and Dragons 3.5.
Yeah, I
nothing really
definitely
new
don't
this
ever want to
and
play 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons ever again in my entire life.
and
Yeah.
Pathfinder 2.0 is half that and half 5e. They substituted the skill system for what you guys already use, and it's more streamlined. It's what you like, but with lore now.
Yeah, they're actually updating and making things.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, they are updating and making things. There's actually been a number of different indie developers that I've been watching and following along with. Like I said, I just got Ouroboros, and who knows what's going to happen now that Chris Metzen decided to abandon War Chief Gaming
I saw that.
completely and go back to Blizzard for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then there's the Sky Raiders of Zabraxis or whatever that's still coming out.
Yeah, so
with
I'm
the
still
5e
waiting.
system.
I'm waiting for that to come out. I've been waiting on my copy for a long time now.
Yeah. See, at the end of the day, 5e, while the system itself, while the company itself and the books are putting out, seems just to be misses over and over again. I don't think it's a writer issue. I think it's definitely a top management issue.
Yeah.
Because the other divisions in WotC are having the same problem. The system itself is fine.
The system
It
is
works
good.
everywhere.
Yeah. I really don't have a lot of complaints about 5e the system because
So
it does work great.
So the enticement is like, oh, let's play Pathfinder. It's just like 5e. Then I'll play 5e. And like you said, the one thing, the Kingmaker book, whatever it's called, that's the 5e conversion. That's great. Like that's something that I would also honestly would pick up if I was looking for something like that. That's in a different world and a different aspect of things. So on one hand, like I don't like that WotC's not taking any creative liberties with their own system and creating a unique Dragonlance version of Magic. And on the other hand, it's like I'm not going to invest in a whole nother system just because it's not D&D,
Or,
I don't know.
I mean, you would be investing money because they give you what you guys complain every week about is not having enough lore.
But that's not a system problem, Bruce.
Yeah.
That is a content management problem.
And the problem is there is no fix for it.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying, swapping to Pathfinder does not fix the lore issue. If you become invested in Pathfinder's story, then that would make sense. But as your investments are into Forgotten Realms or Dragonlance or whatever other things they've been releasing, Spelljammer, etc., that's your investment. That's what you're interested in, and you're never going to get updates to that are nothing official, at least, because WotC isn't doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I was hanging out with all my friends yesterday, 2 days ago, and we were talking about a redo of Dark Sun, and we're pretty much of the mindset that's never going to happen because
it won't.
I know it won't. There are too many things that they would deem problematic about the setting that they would
Yeah.
never even consider remaking it. And honestly, with the amount of lore and the way they've released the last couple of them, I'm actually very happy with that. I'm getting ready to run second edition here soon enough, so I may do some Dark Sun along the way, the way it was intended.
You don't think they're gonna like mention it in Planescape? Just
No.
give it like a page.
I don't think
I
so.
won't. I won't say it'll never receive mention, but it will never get its own books and box sets. Nothing like that. Yeah, the fact that it is a slave world where slavery is very common, that alone is going to make sure that WotC never touches it again. Yeah.
Honestly, if they were really creative, they would take the Dark Sun idea, like this magicless destroyed world,
Mhm.
and then kind of pull a Kamigawa on it. We're like, okay, this is what the world was here. 2,000 years later, where are they now? And like have it be like a new Dark Sun book, but like in a whole different generation. Like how's technology improved? How does a game change when you actually have technology as the focus instead of magic?
I'm not gonna say they couldn't do that, but
But they won't.
everybody who loved Dark Sun would revolt. I sure as hell would, because that's not what I would want a reboot of.
And
Because
then you're just making the Dungeons and Dragons version of Shadowrun.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Yeah, make a new
Yeah.
setting. They could totally do that as a new setting, and I would be all for it.
I don't think I want a D&D Cyberpunk setting. I don't think they would do it right.
You kind
Or
of
they wouldn't
already
give it.
have
They
it.
wouldn't
I mean,
give it
Eberron
the
is
time of
kind of
day.
now. Like Eberron's it's magic with technology.
Honestly, what they've been doing is probably what they should continue doing, which is basically just taking the Magic the Gathering settings and continue putting out books for those. Because they just created like 3 or 4 new worlds. Like I said, they get the new Kamigawa world, which is, cyber ninjas, and they got Streets of New Campania, which is basically demon gangsters. I think Streets of New Campania would be an amazing setting
Yeah.
that they could easily release.
Yeah, it's
You know,
1920s. Uh,
mobsters, but they're all demons.
yeah, that's basically what it is. That's the setting.
Yeah. So like that would be amazing. That would be just the next best setting, but that's
I
not what's on
hate.
the docket.
I really detest it for Magic the Gathering. I hate the Cyber Ninjas for Magic the Gathering. But if they released it as it doesn't have to be a D&D setting, but release it as a 5e setting, I would actually probably enjoy that.
Yeah. I did just have open what they have scheduled for the next couple of months. I know we talked about this in passing. So they're coming out with a re-release of the Rise of Tiamat books.
Yeah.
They're coming out of that in January 17th. It looks like.
You talking about was it Tyranny of Dragons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For
They revamped it, made it easier to play. It's 1 through 15. Have fun.
hopefully it's a lot better. And hopefully you're not having to fight a blue dragon at level 1 to start the thing off.
Oh, I hope they do.
That's such piss poor writing.
And then the next one that's on the docket is Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants, which is supposed to be another source book and giant stuff.
I'm interested in that. That's because I like source books and stuff.
And then the Fandelver campaign rewrite, which is the first starter set but a full campaign. Okay. And then the Book of Many Things, which they have no information on that yet, and Planescape, no information on that. And then Keys from the Golden Vault, which is an anthology series about different crime capers.
That one sounds. Go ahead.
Did you say the Book of Many Things?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what? You open a random page and you have to play from there? Because
no information's been given.
my money on the book, the Book of Many Things is it's probably a magic item book, which I hope it is, and I would absolutely be all about that.
Which they should have released 5 of by now.
Yes, there should be a ton of them out by now. What was the last one you just said? Oh yeah, the Golden Keys one or whatever. That's
Keys from the Golden Vault.
Yeah, and this is with no info. It's probably another one like Candlekeep.
It is. It's an anthology of crime capers.
Oh yeah, okay.
So
I actually don't mind them releasing those. You know, they're not.
No.
It's not a thing of lore. It's just here's a whole bunch of little adventures that you can run over the course of an evening or 3.
So Bruce, other than Pathfinder's a different gaming system than 5e, why should I swap over to Pathfinder?
Aside from the fact that they give you more lore on an adventure path than you get in a campaign book from Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, because that's irrelevant. Because I have a thing called an internet, and I have more lore I can need to work through
But it's
than I could
new,
ever.
updated lore.
Well, the Wikipedia is also new and updated too.
Well, I mean, to me, Sword Coast and all these things is also ran by is now. I like that I'm forging new stories and new plans and a new essentially setting a planet, whatever you want to call. And things are surprising because it's not, oh, it's Tiamat again, or oh, it's Orcus. It's the same, bad guys. Even in the homebrew, you're bringing different things in. There's new stuff all the time. It's a brand new world. You're forging new territory and new stories and going forth with that. There is no version of Tiamat in Pathfinder. There's no everything's different enough. Hell, the person who's the overlord of the dead is a woman, and she's completely neutral.
So I mean, effectively, it's another D&D setting. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Like as I know nothing of the story of Pathfinder, and neither does Chris, I'm assuming.
There's a Tiamat in Pathfinder.
There's a 5-headed dragon that's called something else. Is that what it is?
No. They actually, there is a Tiamat in Pathfinder according to the Pathfinder wiki, but they pull more from the actual Tiamat lore that humans created,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not the
The
5-headed
ancient
dragons.
Sumerian Tiamat.
Yes, the ancient Sumerian Tiamat. But yeah, so yeah, there's still a Tiamat.
It's fair enough. Yeah, like that is one of the things. Like I love playing lots of different settings. I primarily run my own homebrew, but that's one setting. Then the other DM, Johnny, has his homebrew. That's another setting. And we were doing Ravenloft, which is its own thing. I'm going to be running another setting here shortly. Uh, I like bouncing around. I like having lots of options as for locations to run because they're not all the same and they don't all feel the same.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, you and I are experienced at.
Calamar.
Calamar.
Yep.
It was 3E at the time, but it was an entirely new realm. And one thing I really liked, but it was a pain in the ass, but I liked it, is that all the human cultures had different. There was not common didn't get you anywhere because it was just merchant's tongue, which means you
Yes.
could buy and sell stuff. You actually had to learn French, English, Japanese, just their versions of it.
Yeah, and actually, Dragonlance has that too. Not to the same degree, but there's Ergot, there's Solamnic. Like there are a lot of human languages. Uh, Depending on where you're at and where you live, you may or may not be able to talk to the locals.
That's poor character creation then.
No, I love it. Like I think it's fantastic. If you should obviously start with your whatever your culture is, your background, you should start with that language. Everybody should start with quote unquote merchant's tongue,
If you
and then
can.
sure, if you're too dumb to actually speak it, then
Yeah, in the kind of the homebrew world that I've been working on in my mind and here and there, there's like a high noble class race of essentially elves. They're not elves, but essentially the high elves. That's essentially what they are. But the one thing I put in a caveat for when you create them as a character is that they refuse to speak common. It's below them. They will only speak their own language. They
sure.
can understand others, but they will not speak anything below their own tongue. If you can't understand them, that's on you.
Snooty bastards. I love it already. That's like that's a fantastic little thing for a setting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to play characters with that, but dealing with that as NPCs, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're evil bastards.
Also, different things I like about Pathfinder is what they do with like the different classes and stuff. Not all of them, like there's so much variation. Like just like the Oracle, you have to like choose like a distraction to your characters because you have these foresight powers. So like you're either blind or you're wasting away. There's
You mean negatives that characters might
yeah,
have? What?
negatives that force you to role play.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah. See, um, and it is a big difference between characters in 5e and, from what I understand, in Pathfinder. Just from playing the video game, gave me the idea that you get something every level.
Yeah,
When you level up, you get something. It might be useful, it might not, but you're going to get an ability. Whereas in 5e, you get something about every other level, give or take.
Yeah, you get something every level. It's just
You get hit
some
points on
levels
some
are
levels.
no, you get everything. You get something every level. It's just depending on your class. There are a couple spots where like you don't really get much power growth between those levels, but you do get something every level. There's not a level where it says you get nothing.
I would have to check, but I don't think that's actually the case. There are almost
It is the case. I promise you. But like I said, there are some levels where it's just like feet or ASI, and that's it.
yeah, but that's something like that. That
Yeah.
would be akin to what I'm talking about.
But they're like I think it's like level 7 for the bard is like you get the bard class ability, but if you didn't pick the right subclass, you would get something that doesn't change anything really for your class. But it's still something, but it doesn't do anything.
Well, like wizard doesn't get much of anything. Uh, you pick your little subclass that'll get you 3, maybe 4 abilities as you're leveling up, and then wizards don't get anything else.
So
You get a feed every 4 levels or stat
so
boost.
so for the wizard, you get the wizard by itself without the subclass gets something at 1, 2, 4, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 20. And then when you pick a class, you get something when you pick your arcane tradition, it fills in the gaps. So 2, 6, 10, 14. And the other places where you don't get much of anything, you get new spell slots, which is something, but not a lot of things.
Let's see.
So like at 7, you don't get anything that improves your character,
Okay, so those
but
are
you get a 4th level spell slot.
yeah, those arcane tradition things. Those are your
Yeah.
that's your subclass stuff. So you don't get anything at 5th, 7th, 9th,
You get
11th,
spell
13th.
slots.
You get spell slots. Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
You
That's
get
not
something.
okay.
That's why it's 17 is such a big thing because you get your first. That's when you get your 9th level spell. You can't tell me that's nothing.
Oh, getting a 9th level spell is fine. Yeah, all one of them.
Yeah, enjoy your one. You can hit Tiamat now with a spell. Enjoy.
Yep. Yeah, good luck.
Enjoy.
Good luck doing anything with that.
Well,
another thing I like is their release schedule from Paizo. Every month there's a new adventure path. Another release of it. So like if they do them in books of series of 5 to 7, and each month you get the next one. And you collect them all, and then if they do really well, they put them in collector's edition down the road.
What is an adventure path?
Well, like Kingmaker, just like you get part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, but they're divided up in books. So you don't have to wait, you're getting it each month.
Okay. How much is one of those books?
When they first come out, they're between well, it's been a while since I bought one. I want to say $15 to $20.
Okay, so very affordable.
But like if they're like what people like, after the aftermarket on those can be terrible on certain ones that people really, really enjoy.
Yeah, what was actually really cool in 4th edition when you were doing D&D encounters is that you would get that new pamphlet every month, I think, which would have the month's adventure that you could run through. And they would actually then release that as a, compendium as a book later on. And it was really cool. It was like free content, free stuff to run. It was fairly simple because it was Adventures League, the 4th edition Adventures League. But at least you got content that was good.
Yeah.
And for 5th edition, none of that's existed at all. There was the Adventure League stuff, but they gutted that team and fired them all. I'm hoping now that D&D WotC owns D&D Beyond, that they actually do some more stuff with that. And there was some leaked, quote unquote, PDF slideshow of a D&D Beyond Plus account, which is going to have like more microtransactions and at a $30 subscription fee per month, but the promise of like, monthly content and weekly stuff and a bunch of other things. Luckily, that was proven to all be false, but I still, given the way WotC's been acting recently,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be 100% false.
No, it's not going to be 100% false. Hopefully, the $30 a month is, but
Yeah, but like if you say $30 a month gets me access to all of D&D Beyond's content, and I get a well-written new adventure booklet every month with magic items, content, maybe new classes and some lore stuff, I'd sign. I'd keep that going.
for you,
Well,
for you that would actually be useful.
Yeah.
and that's what the subscription service, or if you just want to buy it individually, if you don't want to be in a subscription for Pathfinder, is each month you get a nice book. It's not a hardback. It's not very thick, but it's thick enough. You get an entire adventure, all the maps
That's
you
what
could
she
want,
said.
lore, all that stuff.
Yeah, like I actually, with the advanced 5e stuff, there's a Patreon. They've got, I think it's $10 a month that I'm part of, and every month they release something new that I'm already reading through, finding useful. It's kind of like a miniature Dragon magazine with a whole bunch of new monsters in it, or new classes and so forth, subclasses, etc. New magic items.
Yeah. That's what I was hoping Ouroboros would be doing too, since they had like this big, huge team supposed to be doing that stuff, but they still haven't released their starter adventure yet.
Yeah, and now with
Turns out they
medicine
couldn't
not being
find a
gone.
writer for it. Like, really?
Yeah, there's a
I
lot
know
of them out there.
I know 1,000 writers looking for work right now. Just got to go to the D&D Beyond Discord and just look.
So, Jay, I'm just looking through the Pathfinder stuff, and they just released not that long ago the Book of the Dead.
Cool.
It's $50. You can get
Okay.
it for PDF for 19, but just guess how many pages it is.
7.
250.
Yep, 224 pages of rules, lore, magic items, creatures, rituals, anything you need to learn for undead, necromancy, and anything along those lines for your campaign.
Yeah, third edition had a great book about that, the Libris Mortis, which was also about 250, somewhere in that range. Yeah, that's like that's the kind of stuff I'm wanting, and I don't know. I've never quite figured out why they're not doing any of that with fifth. My guess, and it hasn't really changed. My guess was they expected the DM's Guild to be putting out all that kind of material, and there's a ton of stuff on the DM's Guild that would cover exactly all the undead. I'm sure there's a shit ton of it, but none of it is official, and Yeah, that little official tag does matter simply because that means they've at least quote unquote quality checked it. Yeah, I don't know how much quality checking they're doing these days, but
Oh, you didn't see the post on D&D Beyond?
I don't go to D&D Beyond, so no.
Well, that's where all the news happens now,
I know
buddy.
you just tell me all about it or link it to me usually. So,
Well, Chris Perkins
mhm.
posted about the quality of content that was being released, and
Wait, they
stated
actually acknowledge how terrible it is lately?
no. They
Of
they
course not.
acknowledged that they were not culturally sensitive enough, and basically have introduced a new. Um, I'm trying to find the term that they used, but a new kind of like cultural ethics committee that will read through all the D&D content now before anything is released to give it a pass and make sure that there's nothing offensive in the book.
Got it. So hire some more people to do a mostly useless task that should be kind of done when you proofread this shit anyway.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can understand you don't want to, be offensive at all. Like
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah. Yeah.
not, but like you're you're not going to quality check the rest of the book. You had to retcon everything in the Lunar Sorcerer because half of it just doesn't work and is wrong. That's the way it's printed. Like no one caught that. No,
Yep.
like I said, I say that coming from my document creator, my tech
Yeah.
writer
Yeah. You of all
history.
people should know how this works.
You can't catch every error,
No,
but
it's
when
not
the
possible.
entire subclass needs to be retcon and fixed, that's a big mistake.
Yeah. No one expects you to find that, oh, that, there's an extra I in this word. Like that kind of stuff, it will always leak.
Monsters.
Yeah, that never should have leaked through because that's on the fucking spine of the cover. Bruce, I don't know. I'm sure you'd heard about that. They released Monsters of the Multiverse, and on the spine of the cover, the word monsters had two N's.
Nice.
Yeah,
Hopefully, someone got fired on that one.
wouldn't bet on it.
They
Yeah,
got promoted.
you're doing a great job. Yeah, their quality has not been very good. Like for the past 2 years, it's been really kind of rough. Yeah, not to sit here and rag on WotC too much, but we just expect better from a billion-dollar company.
That's our 2022 perspective.
Yep.
So last thing before we kick this off, I ran my Christmas module yet again this year.
I knew you
And
were going to talk about this because I knew you'd run it. How did it go?
well, since you didn't watch, that's my complaint.
I wasn't
None of you
here.
guys are watching my streams anymore. What's up with that?
I'm never home.
What do you mean you're never home? You don't leave the house.
That's not true at all. Most weekends I'm out and about.
Y'all need to watch it more. Anyways, I think I pulled back on one attack once. They just took the full brunt of the Santa and his overpowered ways. There were only 4 players, so I bumped them up to level 6 to kind of compensate for that missing 5th player.
Hmm.
And that seemed to be enough. They actually beat Santa down and got the good ending. Um,
Oh, wow.
I gave him healing potions too because no healing because the party was 3 rogues and a wizard, which is like the
Whoa.
start of like a really bad joke. 3 rogues and a wizard walk into a bar. Everyone,
Everything is stolen and the place gets fireballed.
so they did a fantastic job beating up Santa Claus. It was great.
That's
Can I play a Kender old school next time?
No, you cannot.
You sure? I would let you, Bruce. I would absolutely let you.
Can you? That'd be like a kid in a candy shop, right?
Yeah. Talking about the 3 rogues and a wizard. So I've been playing Solasta some recently, Crown of the Magister, and it's just D&D 5.0 video game. Like rule set, everything is exactly straight out of 5e rules. And let me tell you, if you try to play that, you have 4 characters you can select. If you try to go through this game with 3 rogues and a wizard, you're just dead. You're just fucking dead. Like I'm running it currently with a druid, barbarian, fighter, and wizard, and I'm doing okay now. But yeah, it's rough, man. That game doesn't play. They send a lot of things at you, and you take a lot of damage.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out sometime.
Yeah, I mentioned to you the other day there is a multiplayer mode. So if at some point we manage to get back to where we have 4 people, it might be something we consider looking at because it's just D&D 5e.
So since I have Bruce and Jay on the line, you guys have any Dungeon Master resolutions for next year?
Yeah. You want
To be on your Twitch channel running a game for you guys.
Oh,
Oh, that'd be fun. We'll have to make that happen somehow.
okay.
Uh,
What about you, Jay?
for me, it is to get a TPK in 2nd edition because I haven't done that in 25 years.
That shouldn't be hard.
No, no, I don't expect it will be. I'm not going to be trying to do it. I'll give them every benefit of the doubt, but I expect it's going to happen.
Me, I want to get some more things published. I got the ideas. I just actually got to sit down and write them.
I'm all ears once you get to working on them.
All right. Well, I got to go prep something. So,
What do you guys? You guys have a good night, and don't forget, I just sent a link. You guys should check that out. Off air.
Okay, where'd you send it? Or
Oh,
just
I sent it to Waples. I'll send it to you too.
oh, okay. I was like, I don't have anything in Discord or Facebook, so where'd it go? He emailed it, sent it via carrier pigeon.
It's gonna be on the general tab for you guys.
All right. I will check it out. Thanks everybody for listening. Merry Christmas to all, and roll some dice. Bye, Craig.